Hello, welcome everybody. Come on in. Let us know when you are here. Today is a very special conversation because Leah and I are having an amazing conversation with Heidi, based over in Canada, and we are going to dive deep today, which is really exciting. And we're going to have a conversation a lot around the masculine feminine energies and the polarity in our relationships and the dynamics that creates, and also what happens when these things aren't in polarity and when they're out of alignment, the impact that can have, and then shifting some of the energies that can keep us out of alignment as well. So, hi ladies.
Hi.
Welcome. So, Leah, you've been diving into a bit more of the masculine feminine energies recently as well. Do you want to share a little bit for those who why I love this conversation is because it is very foundational and very integral to our relationships, yet no one has a conversation around it. No one. So do you want to share a little bit about what you've been discovering?
Yeah, so I can give a little bit of background details first. So when I was a child, my parents separated when I was about 4. So for me, it was always, I just wanted to have that happy family. And when I was a teenager, people would ask me, what do you want to be when you're grown up? And I always said, I just want to be a wife and a mother. Hey, editor. And then when I became a wife and a mother, I had to step in the masculine energy all the time. There wasn't a lot of space for the feminine. I did dive a little bit before into the feminine, and also growing up in a single mom household, I saw my mom doing everything all the time. So for me, that was kind of, this is just what women do. Women do everything all the time. And when I was in the relationship, I know that it's easy to say, my husband didn't step up or my husband didn't step up, but it's also, I didn't let him step up. And that is a lot about the feminine energy. It's the giving space, or it's about relationships in general. It's about giving space to each other to grow into those roles that we're meant to play. And I'm not saying, or we're not saying with this feminine and masculine energy means that women should not be working and striving and, doing all those things. I think feminine and masculine energy is more around how we lead, our type of leadership. So it's, how we show up in this world and how we express our purpose. And we all need to have a balance of feminine and masculine energy. It's not like we don't need to have that. But the way we lead and the way we guide people and ourselves, and how we hold space for ourselves as well, is based on the masculine and feminine energy.
Yeah. And I see it as a pendulum, right? Like we can be really far in one corner, and we can take that into areas of our life. So say as a core feminine being, we can be really hard up into our masculine, and and that is really serving us for things like business and, the areas of our life where we want action and results. That masculine energy is very, very helpful. But then if we take that into our relationship, it isn't our true core, and we're not giving them the space. We're taking up the masculine space. We're not giving them the space to come in as rooted in their core masculine energy. And the whole dynamic gets thrown off. The partner ends up in their feminine energy, and that's where the misalignment. So I love how you mentioned about we need to recognize the space that we're holding and how we're encouraging, how we're leading the conversations, leading the energetics of it all. And one thing that I love, and it came from Alison Armstrong, who I mentioned last week with the wrong name. So if anybody is interested on Audible, she's got great books and workshops and things like that. Alison Armstrong talks a lot about these subjects. And for example, allowing that space. The masculine, when they have had a busy day at work and they've had all that action and all those results, and they come home to your space, there's actually a transition time that they need. Us as females, we are used to taking in and talking about and communicating multiple things at any one time, where they have the laser focus. They're shifting from the focus of their workday to the focus of their home life, and there is actually a transition time that they need. And allowing them to have that transition time without the feminine needing their attention and needing anything from them in that transition time. And traditionally, the man will come home and do the same thing every afternoon. In that they come home, they might, change their clothes, have a shower, whatever, sit down and do something. So they're in the environment, but they might read the newspaper, read a book, and just have a moment. And then they'll come back in and have a conversation with you, ask about your day, because they've transitioned and they've landed. So that is absolutely fascinating to me, because for us as females, we're like, well, how's your day? Well, what happened today? Who did you talk to? Blah, blah, blah. I did this, I did that. And we are just so into the communication, because as the feminine, we want to give our meadow report. So we've been out in the meadows all day and we've been berry picking, and we're like, oh, those ones are almost right. As soon as they're, the skin on that berry is shiny, we're going to be able to pick it in a couple of days. And, we can describe where it is, and we can share all of this information when we have the trust there. And they haven't transitioned home yet. They haven't landed, and we are just like unloading on them. So understanding these dynamics are an absolute game changer, even if it is just recognizing when it isn't present. That's one thing that was highlighted for me. I recognized that it wasn't present for me because I didn't feel safe enough to share my meadow report. So if you are feeling that resistance and the space isn't held for you to give that meadow, even between females, right? If there's somebody that you're like, I'm not going to share that information, it means that there's that little bit of mistrust, because you don't want them and their tribe going and getting the berries that are almost right. And yeah, it's absolutely, absolutely fascinating. So yeah, where do you want to go next?
Let's get Heidi into the conversation. So Heidi is a lovely friend of ours. We did Mindshift together in 2019. I can't believe it's been 3 years. And Heidi was on last week. And it's kind of, this conversation started with the question that Heidi posed. So today we're actually going to dive, like Libby said, a little bit into the energies of the feminine and masculine, and doing a little bit of a timeline shift, which Libby will be guiding. But yeah, we wanted to have Heidi on as well, because we are going to, if we've got time later on, look a little bit at the numerological energies and frequencies that we all have. So we all have our own kind of frequency that matches up to us. And I just want to explain a little bit more around that. Actually, you know what, we'll just do it right now. So
yeah,
Heidi,
I felt that too. Yeah.
Yes. Heidi is a 10 of hearts. Her birth card, if you guys are not familiar with numerology, we have got a baseline numerology, which is a ruling number, which is our Pythagorean influences, and we've got a day card, season cards, and all of those. Those kind of help us guide what our personality looks like, why we do certain things, and also shows a little bit about our karma and dharma. And our birth card is kind of a life purpose. So also how we deal with other people, how we deal in relationships, how we can contracts with other people are determined on our birth card. And our birth card just gives us a lot of insight into also our life and certain lessons that we are learning throughout our lifetime. So Heidi is a 10 of hearts. And we have got certain influences that are based on the planets. And Heidi's moon card is a Four of Spades. Now, the 10 of Hearts is the card of infinite love. It's the card of having so much love inside of yourself that it just overflows. And that's why you have so much success in groups. You're just... there is just no ending to the love that you have to share. If you're in your high perception, in your low perception, that is a little bit different. But I know Heidi's in a high perception. So, I'm so sorry. Heidi's moon, which the moon is, if our birth card is also called a sun card. And as we know, the moon and the sun, they work very closely together. The moon... so the sun the moon goes around the earth, so it's kind of like if we have moon energy with somebody, if we are their moon card, that means that we would do anything for them. And if it's the other way around, it means that we feel really comfortable. They shine this bright light on us that makes us feel seen or makes us feel heard. And that's why when we're in a relationship with moon energy, it makes us just feel really empowered, and it makes us feel like we're being seen and heard. And it just gives us this unconditional pull towards each other. And sometimes we just don't understand, when you're not aware of these contracts, you just have these feelings, but you don't understand why. Heidi's moon card is the Four of Spades. So you knew that because we spoke about it earlier. So I just want to go a little bit into the energy of the Four of Spades. And I would love also to know what you feel the Four of Spades means to you. So the Four is all about stability and foundation, and the Spades is the suit of legacy and sowing your purpose in the life for other people to benefit from. So the Spades is like a work card, a health card, but I just feel like that is really so mundane, work and health. I think the way that our world is going right now, it takes it deeper. What is your legacy? What is your purpose? So for Heidi's moon card to be the Four of Spades is that the energy that you want in somebody else, it doesn't mean that this person has to have the Four of Spades as their sun card, but they have to be representing this energy in some way. So tell me about what the feeling is. What is the feeling creating within yourself when you hear this information?
So for me, it is very much that stability. Like I need a partner, whether it's in relationship or business or someone that I'm creating something with. I need them to have, or I thrive when they're stable, when they show up, when they do what they say. And also I have such deep respect for the piece of legacy, like creating something that lasts. And that's not about money and leaving a trust fund for a child. It's about creating like a business that creates impact for layers and layers out, or even creating an adventure, like a trip together. Like it can't just be some random thing. I mean, I love adventure and I'm spontaneous, but there's always like a purpose or something that comes from it that lasts forever. And so when I come in contact with someone who has that kind of energy, like when I think about now, like who I've dated or who I've been with or who I've like built work things with, that energy has always been present. Even if they don't have that birth card, they have that kind of energy. Yeah. And if I have the stability of that, like if I have someone who's stable and capable and already like, I hate the word successful because what does that mean? But to me, if they already know who they are, if they're really grounded in who they are and they know what they're here to do, then I can be like this flowy 8 that has all of these ideas and who's going all the time, but I always have that place to come back to. And then I can create so much, and I can love so much bigger, and I can expand my heart so much more when I know that I have that. Like, to me, it feels like that safe place to fall.
It sounds like intimacy, right? Intimacy, not just on a physical level, but intimacy on a emotional, spiritual, mental level. And my moon card is the Four of Diamonds, also that stability. So I really resonated with what you said. I was like, yeah, that's why that didn't work out.
Yeah, which you get to have that awareness too when things don't work out. And it's like, oh, that's why, because they just, sometimes someone brings one piece, but not both.
Yeah. And I feel like in relationships, it doesn't matter if it's a love relationship or, business relationship, like you said, or friendship relationship. We do have the capacity to have relationships that are a 10 out of 10. So we do not have to compromise. Like, yes, in a relationship, there will always be things that come up that we have to work through, but having that intimacy and, knowing your masculine and feminine roles within that relationship and being able to hold space in that capacity gives that intimacy for you then to feel safe to grow and to feel safe to be yourself. And I think, I've been calling it in, and haven't called in a love partnership yet, but look at all of us, right? I've called you guys in. So
yeah, which is beautiful and so aligned, right? Like it's incredible.
Yeah. So I think just talking about the frequency of the number already manifests it within your heart space. And, when we manifest something within our heart space, that then creates an imprint in our biomorphogenic field, which is the field around us that filters out information for us on an intuitive level. So you just calling your energy in will already create that change in your biomorphogenic field and coding it towards you seeing more of the things that will align with that Four of Spades energy. So automatically you will now might have more experiences, more conversations around all of this. The universe works with you to create these experiences for you. So if anybody who's on would like to know more about their moon energy, please get in touch with us, and we will help you and guide you. Yeah. All of us are qualified for it. So take your pick.
And I just think, like, what a gift to be able to approach the beginning, because as I think all three of us here have had long-term marriages or relationships that we're not in anymore. And I often think about how much, obviously, I met my ex-husband when I was 17, so I knew nothing about anything at that point. But even now as an adult, like dating and approaching it with this knowledge, it just feels so much more accessible to find that 10 out of 10. And like you said, I'm not talking like some woo-woo perfection thing. I know there's compromise and there's no perfect relationship, but really to be aware of the things that I need and want and not compromise, because every time I've compromised, I've had to step into my masculine to make the relationship work. And I mean, yes, we all have to use some masculine, but I don't want that. I want to be in that 10 of Hearts love space of flow and creation. And I want someone who's knows their masculine and can be there and be solid and comfortable and not intimidated by me when I'm flowing around. So I love this knowledge applied to where we are at right now. I just think it's so incredibly cool.
Yeah. And all of these this numerology concept that we're using is thousands of years old. So this has been used for many, many, many millennia, and it was created through trial and error. So it's an intuitive science, you know. And the more I dive into numerology, the more I'm like mind blown at how amazing it is. And it was created for everybody to know. It was not created just for a few to know. It was created for everybody to know, because it makes your life easier. Knowing certain things, you know, you understand yourself more. You understand learnings, you know, why do we have to experience certain things? And you look at the relationships that you've had and you understand why they went a certain way. And it gives so much compassion, you know, because we're here not just to work our 9 to 5 and just, you know, veg out. I just see like so many people, they're just not really appreciating life. They're just vegging in and out of doing what they think they have to do to survive. You know, going to that job that you hate just because you need the money so that you can live in the house that, you know, and buy the car that, I don't know. It's just the point in life where we're at now is that we need to realize that life is a gift, and all the experiences that we've made in the past and the experiences that we're making today and all the choices that we make today and tomorrow and in the past are all leading us on a path to intimacy with ourselves and with the universe and with each other. That's what it's all about. Relationships. And this year, the 6th year, is all around relationships and family and us coming back to, you know, our soul purpose, creating harmony. And yeah, there is, like, of course we had to have this conversation this year. Okay. Good morning. If you're here, just say hello. I can see that there's quite a lot of people on. I would love to know who's here with us.
Yes, welcome. Can I just touch on the, because it's been mentioned a couple of times, the 10 out of 10 relationship, right? And I think that there can sometimes be this misconception of, okay, if I do all of the inner work and if I dive into my shadow and if I make all of these shifts and I do all the healing and do all the clearing, and then I'll have a 10 out of 10 relationship that won't have arguments and it won't have this and won't, you know, and it's going to be this smooth ride that just, you know, takes us till our dying breath where we end life together. And, you know, it's just I see the 10 out of 10 relationship is where you can have those honest, deep conversations that may feel like an argument, but that is the moment that you're both expanding together. And that is the moment where you're both like addressing the lessons and leaning into the expansion of what you're here to experience. Like, it is such a growth opportunity. That's the dynamic of a 10 out of 10 relationship for me. So yeah, it's not like we're striving for this smooth sailing, like Hollywood movie style relationship. It's the real raw truth. And I see that happening in the collective. Like, even I caught up with a friend yesterday that I hadn't seen in 20 years, met him in Canada, actually. So, you know, and he's always been quite a deep talker, and he's like, you know what, I'm in the construction industry and none of my mates will have a deep conversation. So he's like, I'm craving it. And I said, I feel like that is across the board, whether it's with your girlfriends, in your intimate relationships, with family. It's time where the surface level conversations of just getting by and just, you know, skipping a stone along the top of the pond just isn't enough anymore. It's not fulfilling. It's not satisfying. We're not growing. We're craving that expansion. And I think that's what's coming into our dynamics as well. And then understanding,
No, you go. Sorry.
Or just, you know, understanding this divine feminine, masculine, the polarity, how that shows up, how it feels when it's in alignment. You know, all of this it's important conversations to kick off, you know.
I saw this video the other day where a woman asked, who would you call when you've had a really shit day? And all men said, what? I can call someone? What? I can actually talk to somebody about it? Like, I'm a grown man. Like, I don't have my mum anymore that I can talk to. Like, what? You actually can call someone? Like, yeah. Everybody should have a person that they can call when they're feeling like shit. It made me so sad too, Heidi. I couldn't but in my past few years, I also was very isolated, and I didn't really feel like I had anybody to talk to but my family at home. And I, when everything happened with the breakup with my husband, and, I was in a shit relationship, I didn't want to ring them and worry them because they were on the other side of the world. But yes, no, you need to have somebody to talk to. And I always say this, if somebody would call you or message you and say, I'm having a shit day, can we meet up for coffee? Would you say no? No, I would never say no. I would say, I would drop everything and go to see that person, because for somebody to reach out already in our society nowadays is like a big, please help me. I need your help right now. So, us creating more of these relationships and more of, and this comes back to the, having so much self-love within yourself so that you can actually just ooze it out. That there's that in relationships, we have got that push and pull of energy moving between each other. But if you're creating so much self-love within yourself, then you can just give it away freely. And those people that really need to have some because, their bucket is empty, they will just be able to fill it up without, that negative, without emptying you up. That's why it's so important that all of us do self-love exercises every day. And maybe this is a conversation for another day, but I think that's a conversation for another day.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Shall we dive in?
Let's just have a quick look at the comments, because we've been getting a lot of comments here. So thanks, Beth, that you like our conversation. Mm-hmm. Cher says, totally, Libby, 30 years plus here. Second marriage, it always takes work on both sides. Yes. Mm-hmm. If we have the words, it's over so fast because we talk it out just to get each other. I think, just talking about our dreams and our wants, and, and the things that we can create. It's okay, Libby. And being able to have those deep, meaningful conversations, it's just magic. I even have just surface level with my parents, and it's so unfulfilling. A relationship needs a deeper connection. Yes. Yeah. The thing is, sometimes we always expect the other people to change first because we're craving it so much, but sometimes we have to make the change ourselves first. Being open, because I know sometimes in relationships it can feel like, well, I've given everything, but I'm still not getting it back. Sometimes we have to let it go, and sometimes by letting it go, it will then actually create freedom, which the other people can then feed off, and they see like, oh, look, she's looking different, she's feeling different, and that might affect it through, the interrelation of our biomorphogenic fields. We automatically rub off on each other. Yes.
Yeah. And you're changing for you, right? You're not changing for them. You're changing for your experience and your growth and expansion. It's not for them. It will have an impact, but I'm surrounded by a lot of, in terms of our contract cards and our sun cards. I have a lot of eight of clubs in my life, in parents, ex, etc. It's and they're a fixed card, so life moves around them, and they're very fixed in their experience, and they don't feel like much needs to change, and it can be unsettling. But I couldn't let that stop me from changing and growing, and it's had an impact. It's changed dynamics of things, but we only do it for ourselves anyway.
Yeah. And we're in a relationship for ourselves, and the contracts that we have with the other people are actually only there to help us grow more ourselves. It's not there to show us where we need to help the other person to grow, or, you know, it doesn't show up for that. It just shows up at where can I, it's just a mirror to us, you know, what can I do to understand this thing more, this trauma more, this programming more. It always comes back to that self-healing, self-love. It's just, no matter what, we're always in relationships with others for ourselves. Kath says she has come to the conclusion that she'll just be in a relationship like that with her parents. And she's at peace with that, which is fantastic. Yes, editor. 8 of Clubs, it takes incredible energy to change certain things. Cher says, my family are like that. You need to do this and do that this way only. If you go out of the box, they totally become uncomfortable. So old school. Yeah, I married into a family like that. And it was like very confronting. I mean, you know, it's just their programming, and it's what's kept them safe. It's not, you know, they're not, it's programming. And yeah, us as, you know, people that are growing and awakening, we can only show people how we, that there is another way as well. That's all we can do. Plant the seeds, but ultimately we do not have control over whether the seeds grow into a tree or not. You can only lay them out. All right, Libby, let's do this masculine, feminine timeline shift.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Heidi, are you ready?
I think so.
Okay. So let's just do a cycle of cues. So quantum expansion is something that the three of us use a lot. And it's a way of us, you know, really connecting with the source energy of the universe. And when we're in a group setting, it can help us align with our energies together as well. So we'll just take literally, we'll you know, I usually cue pretty fast. So we'll just do our 3 cycles, and then we'll do our 3 cycles connecting, and then we'll move into the shift. Okay. All right. So Leah, I don't know, you can always talk people through it if you want while we're doing this. It's up to you.
Yeah, I can quickly talk people through it.
Heidi and I will do our thing. You can share this with people who haven't experienced it before.
Yeah, so for the first 3 cues, we are going to close our eyes because we're going to focus on the energy within ourselves. So I would like to invite you to open up your crown chakra just at your head, and inviting in that golden light coming in through the top of your head, and really feeling into that point at the top of your head, feeling into the point at your heart chakra. So it's your heart coming out the front and your heart coming out the back, really focusing on that area, and then really focusing on the root chakra, which is just at the bottom of your tailbone. Focusing on those 3 points. Breathing in and out of those 3 points. And then inviting this golden liquid light in to the top of your head. It goes around the left side of the body and then into the heart chakra, so crossing over, then going down the right side of the body, and then through that point in your root chakra, and then coming back up the left side of the body, in through the heart chakra, and really amplifying that feeling of I am divine and I create. And then going up right side of the body into your head. I would like to invite you just to run that figure 8 by yourselves 2 more times. amplifying the feeling of unconditional love and unity consciousness. Okay, for the next step,
Leah,
yeah,
can we leave it there for the group,
yeah.
and we'll dive in? I'm just conscious
I'll
of
mute.
time. That's all. Beautiful. So that's a little introduction into quantum expansion, a beautiful practice for creation energy. So, Heidi, let's have a little chat about, obviously we started this conversation last week, and what I would love to start with is just talking a little bit about what you feel some of your challenges are with relationships, because I know that the broader concept that we spoke about, we nailed it down to the masculine feminine, but it was a broader concept of relationship. So can you just talk about that a little?
Yeah, thank you. So I think that the biggest challenge that I have is in relationship is that I do want to go deep, and I want to dig into that, why we're here, and to really be in that space of love and to create more of that. And that can be really affronting for men and masculine. And so I've come together with some really beautiful partners in my history of, but when I step into that role, it tends to be a little bit, I think it from what it feels like to me, is it scared them off and made it difficult to, or the connection just wasn't there at the level. But I'm such a lover and a like, I want to help people so much that I stay and I try and change it or help them change while I give up my light and my joy, and I can feel myself dimming down and losing my spark. And so that's kind of been the challenge, but in the end, they're the ones to go. So then I also have this other layer of like being left and being afraid to enter into relationship now, like to the point where I do want to date now with a partner, but I'm almost afraid to step back into that field because I don't want to get hurt again, or I don't want to get left again.
Wow.
So kind of my history and story in a nutshell.
So there's two things that you really mentioned there, and the first being you feel like you have dulled your light. You've dimmed your light and dulled that spark to bring what you thought you needed to bring into the relationship. And the second is that fear of being left again, the fear of being hurt, that abandonment, which is totally understandable because we all have that human need for the connection, for the love, for the certainty. So at what point, when do you first remember? Let's talk firstly about the dimming your light, losing the spark. When do you remember that first feeling coming into your body?
I feel like it's probably as little as 3 or 4. Like being raised in a very fundamentally Christian religious world, like we just weren't encouraged to have a lot of spark. It feels like a pretty young girl to me that, okay, no, that's not okay. You're too loud, or, like even probably internally, I just felt like I did the wrong thing or said the wrong thing and maybe got in trouble or something.
And where do you feel that in your body?
It's very like rib cage, heart, but like a little bit below. So
like the high solar plexus, personal empowerment. Yeah. Okay. And if you just lean into this space just a little bit, we don't want to stay here too long, and just describe that feeling. So we know where it's located. If you can just describe, does it have a color or a texture? Can you give it a rating of intensity out of 1 to 10?
It's probably like a 4 or a 5, and it feels like this. It's like a bubble that's starting to blow up. So it's not like it has the need for expansion, but it also feels restricted.
Beautiful. What else do you notice?
It's interesting. My body feels really calm around it, though. Like I don't feel like I want to run, or which I thought I would.
That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So there is an element of comfort.
Mm-hmm.
So this feeling is very much at home in you, which is, that's what happens when things get very embedded and they show up in our life a lot. We get so used to it, we're desensitized, and they play out at that subliminal level without it often getting our conscious attention. So the intensity is a 4 to 5. It feels actually quite comfortable, even though you know that it's a bit restricting and it does want to expand. What is the ripple effect that you have seen in your life from carrying this feeling around, from this, carrying this consciousness around?
It's absolutely kept me from creating the relationships that I want, like whether it's partner, like a romantic relationship or partnerships, or even in friendships. I know that has kept me from going to the level I want to go, or even probably on the opposite side, it's made me like overshare in grasping for that connection when it's not there.
Beautiful. So are you ready to shift this?
Yes.
Okay. So where do you want to go?
I want to be 100% comfortable showing up as me, and to trust totally that the people that come in and out of my experience will benefit and accept and love me for exactly that.
And what kind of experiences will you have?
I think I'll have some pretty good conversations about the things that really matter to me. And I also can really feel the potential of creating something that just creates so much impact in the world, like whether it's a business or some sort of I think even just a beautiful relationship for me in that space with a romantic partner can just create so much potential for this rippling out of magic. Like even if it shows other people that they can have that too, we're talking about the 10 out of 10, right? The more we see that in the world, the more we believe it to be true and possible for us. And I feel like I can show that out in that space. That's a big claim.
Yes. I love this. So where are you feeling that in your body?
It's like coming out, it's almost like wings, like spreading out.
Yeah.
Like wings.
Yeah. For me, I feel like that is everywhere in your body and beyond. It's not in any one particular container or energy center. That is everything. And is it possible that, popping this balloon allows for that to become possible?
Absolutely.
For you to have that experience. So in terms of so you've described the experiences that you're wanting to create. Just share a little bit of how it feels when you are in those conversations, when you have shown up exactly as you, shining brighter than you've ever shined before, being 100% seen, feeling so ultimately safe and secure that you're in a collaborative energy, that there's no, threat of abandonment or loss of connection when you're both having these incredible conversations about things that really truly matter to you. How does that feel?
It's like this pure light. Like, it just, like, it comes from here and it just explodes out, and there's no limitation to the creation from that. It just feels like there's possibilities beyond anything I can't even imagine. And I'm pretty big on possibility.
Mm.
It's like that times 100. Like, it just feels like this, like I can see myself glowing in that situation.
Mm. So beautiful. So I just want you to sit with that feeling for a moment and, cut off your other senses, close your eyes, and really just allow that feeling to come in and integrate into your body through the crown chakra, inviting it in with such a welcoming energy, and bring it all the way down in through every space in your body. Allow it to integrate and bleed into every cell. It can activate exactly what it needs to activate. I feel like there's a dormant DNA and energy here that can be activated with this process. So just allowing everything to settle in exactly how it was divinely intended, and into every space of your physical body, of your emotional body, of the energetic body, and the aura that is around us that we are sharing with the world.
Mm.
And then when you feel like you've allowed it to integrate just a little bit more, I want you to almost invite in a supersonic version, every last drip of this incredible energy that you're inviting in, and ask it to come in and flood all of your spaces. Welcome it in so that you're at the point where your cup is overflowing. Every space is fulfilled with this beautiful intention of this. I'm seeing it as it's like a vibrational upgrade of how you're going to have experiences now. And as you do that beautiful body scan and you just welcome all of this energy back home, we've been keeping ourselves safe. We've been keeping the energy safe. We've been keeping it separate. And it's time for it to be okay to be back home now. And as it keeps integrating, the words that come to me are, I can shine bright.
Mm-hmm.
I can shine bright and I won't be left. I can shine bright, and if I'm left, I will be okay. You just sit with that for a moment while I get my charger. Thank you for that. So as you feel into all of this and you allow that welcoming of this energy back home, just for a moment, I'd like you to check into that high solar plex, low heart space where your balloon is, and describe how it feels now.
That bird makes me laugh. It even in the first wave of bringing it in, it completely like popped and went away. Like it was like it's yeah, it was like it was absorbed. It popped and then was absorbed into the light, and now it just feels like there's so much space in my heart and my solar plexus and my sacral and even into the base, and like all like it's just like this glowing shaft of like creation and light. And when you said that, like, how can I not? Like, how can I not show up as me? How can I not shine? Like, the world needs me as I am in my most divine feminine self. And it was just those words, like, how can I not? And then not trust that I won't be left. And like, then that doesn't even matter, like any of that.
Yeah. So what can you claim in this moment? What is it that you can truly claim now that you've welcomed this home, now that you've integrated this energy?
I will show up in the truest divine essence of myself.
Okay, can you say that again?
I will show up in the truest divine feminine essence of myself.
And one last time.
I will show up in the truest divine feminine essence of myself.
How does that feel?
It feels fucking amazing.
I felt like you already claimed it during the process. We normally do this claiming. I'm like, oh, she's already claimed it, but I still wanted to hear you say it, just so that we can feel that transmutation, because what is possible now?
It feels like that possibility that's beyond the possibility I can even imagine. Like, I just feel like I'm sitting with someone and having a conversation that almost makes me vibrate off my chair.
Yep.
And it doesn't even matter what the thing is that comes, whatever the creation is, because there's a million things I can create and be stoked about. And I know that, but it's like the essence of that conversation, of that connection of like, oh yeah, we're here together and we're doing this, not me for you or you for me, but for us and for all.
That real co-creation. I see when I envisage that conversation for you, it's like that's the signpost. It's like that is just the signpost of the shift in everything else in your life as well. You're going to notice it. It's going to describe or direct, or it's going to give you that notification of like, oh my God, this is it. This is how it feels. And you're going to know that experience by how it feels. And that is just the tiny little snippet showing you exactly how it's playing out in the rest of your life as well. So, I can see you really anchoring the conversations like that are helping you anchor into it, but that's just the tip of the iceberg to everything else that's possible, because anything is possible. You sitting in that vibration where you're like, oh my God, I could vibrate off the chair, is you fully integrated in the present moment. You can't be caught in the past or the future if you're in that feeling state. And then I see you, this blob of energy, this amazing ball of light and energy in this conversation, then going and, taking that ball of energy and shining bright with family, and then, onto a date, and then into your next business meeting, and then into your next client meeting. And it is just this beautifully divine present experience, and you'll forget and you'll let it go, and it'll, you know, the vibration will stop, and then you will know it so well that you'll come straight back into that.
Well, and what a beautiful guidepost, like what's coming to me in this, thinking about this around dating and finding a partner, it's that if I have that guidepost from the beginning, it's like, no, it's not there, then I don't have to force it and try and create it. It's just like, no, next, right? And I, like, all of a sudden I just have this peace around that part of being left or going through heartbreak in relationship over and over again. It's like, that just feels gone, because that doesn't matter anymore, because I'll know so quickly if it's that or not. And and obviously it will probably take a bit of practice for me to know that, but now that I have something to guide me from inside, which I always did, I just didn't trust before, it feels very exciting, and it's like approaching it from a whole new way.
Yeah. And the beauty of that is that you will know that when that feeling isn't present, there's nothing wrong.
Exactly.
It doesn't make that conversation wrong, that person wrong, you wrong. It's just it's like that barometer of alignment, right? Like, is this, am I allowing myself to experience this higher state of vibration while I'm in conversation with this person? You know, that's the magic recipe, absolute magic recipe. And there's no way, just imagine you shining so bright as that ball of light. There's no way you could be in your masculine.
Nope.
It's just not possible. So not that there's anything wrong with that, it does serve, but that's where, you know, the concerns about polarity go out the window, because you'll just be in such a natural, divinely feminine state of your true core. So just tune in, do a little body scan for me, and just let me know how you're feeling in your body.
I feel really light and excited, and just even touching, because I know you can sit and have that conversation, or you can bring the energy of the conversation in. It affects the body the same way. I think we all know that from our work in Mind Shift and all the energetic work we do. But that was such a good reminder, because I've been going through some physical health things too, and it's been a bit heavy for me to get through life. And it's such a good reminder to just bring that feeling in, even though I'm not out sitting with someone else right now, or maybe even tomorrow, because my body just feels light and free and excited right now. And I forget when I'm sitting here and I'm not feeling good and I'm alone, or, you know, the kids are coming and going, I forget to do that. So I'm grateful for this reminder.
Yeah, which we all do. And, you know, is it possible that you can sit in this beautiful state and have a conversation with your physical body?
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about, you know, what do you need? What do you need from me? What can I do for you? How can we co-create this? What will it, and then dream with your body, you know, what would it be like if we tried this or tried that? And you know, that's the true co-creation that I see in the experience that we can create, where it may seem silly, but that is a really powerful thing to do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So welcome. I can't wait to see what's next for you.
So many wise words spoken by both of you, and this was such a beautiful process, and I could really feel it too. And I would love to know if anybody else who was on felt it. You're like really stepping into that 10 of hearts, you know, like what you were describing was really like just this, here, take it. I've got enough of this. You know?
Yeah, it's like my cup is full now. Now I can share and shine that so bright. there was just that block of the judgment around it, and some of the old programming of, don't be too much, that doesn't serve anymore. And I think every human on the planet can resonate with that. We've all had those moments where we've been too much, and it really is scarring. Allowing ourselves to let that go is how we can step even more into our true essence. Yeah.
Yes. And I just want to add that I can absolutely see this conversation happening around the same table, in the same presence of each other soon.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my God, did you just say you'll come over? I'm getting goosebumps. What?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Or we're coming over.
We're either I'm coming there or you're coming here, but somehow before too long, we are going to be together in person, and it's going to be even more magical than on screen.
Let's do it. I can't wait to travel again. Yep. Well, that's probably a really good place to leave it. We've just hit the hour mark, and let us know your thoughts. Do you want to have more opportunities to kind of dive deep with us? We don't really have a format, Leah, do we? We just
go with the flow.
We just wing it. So we'll probably show up next Thursday and have another conversation, see where that takes us. I'd love to check back in with Heidi as well, and have her share her experiences as things unfold. So, and just to give you the idea, guys, is what we've done here is we've planted the seed. So this new seed with all of its beautiful nutrients and all of the information is in this seed, and that now it's going to, grow and birth out into Heidi's life. And there's going to be certain things that might get uncomfortable. There's going to be awareness that is going to come up. There's going to be certain triggers that might happen. And, it's the start of a journey. But I know that Heidi has done so much work. She was so ready for that transformation that I can't wait to see how it ripples out and what experiences are created.
Well, of course, I'll keep you posted because we're friends and we chat, but I'm happy to share as I go as well if anything comes up and is worthy of sharing.
Has my internet gone funny? Yeah. All right, guys. Oh. Yeah.
All right, we'll see you all next week.
Beautiful. So beautiful. All right, guys, I think